All right, guys, how you doing? And welcome to the first ever video I've actually recorded in our lovely studio with the manager, Jay Devro, who's joined me. You know it's serious when Devs is here, and it is serious because we're talking about TST. If you don't know what TST is, it's the soccer tournament. That's what it stands for. Don't ever go at me if you're using the word soccer instead of football, because that's actually its name. It's TST, and it's called soccer because it's in America, and we're playing in it very shortly, actually. Now, the season's out the way, and we're going to have a quick chat about the 11-a-side season, which we've finished now, for the men at least. We've now got to look at 7-a-side, not just any 7-a-side tournament, a tournament where there's $1 million up for grabs. Hashtag could have our hands on $1 million in just a few weeks' time. So there's a lot to talk about. Today we're going to talk about who's in the squad. We're going to officially announce all the names. Some you would have seen on our platforms already. Some of you have no idea who's going to be in the squad. We'll reveal that today. We're going to talk about some of the competition, and there's some serious competition in this tournament, let me tell you. And all the things you need to look forward to and think about when it comes to TST. Before we get into that, though, Devs, you've got a trophy right next to you there.
We have, yeah.
Well done.
Well done.
You've done it again.
We did it again, yeah.
Promotion. Title number 3, technically. Some people will say we didn't win the Essex Senior League, but my trophy in my house says otherwise.
You've got one, yeah.
This was probably the hardest one, would you say, to do so far? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I think you'd say it's the hardest because it's the one that we're kind of in the moment of.
Highest level.
Difficult, but highest level.
But then we won it by the biggest margin. We had the most points. We won it by 7 points in the end. We had so close to 100 points. We got 98 points in the end, if you didn't know.
I'm still annoyed by that.
Yeah, a nice round number, 100, isn't it? Yeah. But we take those. And yeah.
We're taking it at the beginning of the season, that's for sure.
We're taking it, yeah, beginning of the season, at any point throughout the season. And we're going up to the 7th tier, step 3 of non-league. What do we expect that gap to be like, that jump up?
Every step you take gets bigger.
Gets tougher?
Yeah. That's been my experience in the past, and I don't think there's many would argue with that.
So what you're saying is $1 million would probably be really handy.
$1 million would be nice.
Okay, it's good to know. Yeah. Well, we're going to obviously do a big preview video for the season in a few months' time when we're in pre-season. We talk about who's left, who's coming in. There will be movement. There always is in non-league.
Absolutely.
But today is all about TST, the soccer tournament. So much to look forward to. Since we've last done a video about this, Seb and I did one when we first announced it quite a few months ago now. Lots has changed. I mean, when TST was announced, it was announced with 2 kind of inaugural partner clubs. It was Hashtag, and then Clint Dempsey, the ex-US national team legend, has got a team as well. Some serious teams have been added since then. We're talking about Borussia Dortmund from Germany.
Some big guns. Yeah.
We're talking about Wolverhampton Wanderers from the Prem. Wrexham, more recently. I actually think Ryan and Rob might even be there.
Been announced as players, squad members, haven't they?
So you're saying owners are allowed to play? Interesting.
Well, some owners are allowed to play.
Some, depends on the manager, right?
I think so, yeah.
I'm going to back myself. I'm definitely better at football than both of them. 100% better at football. I actually think I'm better than both of them combined. And I don't even think I'm that good. But I'm a big fan of Rob McElhenney. He actually saw the It's Always Sunny podcast live in Dublin last week. But I know he's not going to be any good at football. Right. You know. Ryan reckons
so what are they good at?
They're quite good at acting. They're quite good at writing stuff. They're quite good at making money, apparently. And running football teams.
They've done all right, haven't
they? They've done all right, yeah. They've done pretty well. But Ryan reckons he played as a youngster. Ryan, listen, if you're there, mate, you want to do 101, little match-up with me, let's go. So Wrexham are in there. We've got a load of... I mean, I think there's the attention's going to go to the likes of Dortmund and all these guys. But I actually think some of the other teams they're entering are going to be real problems for us.
Have you not even mentioned the biggest club of them all yet, have you?
It was just been announced this week.
Yeah, where?
West Ham United are going to be in America. How crazy is it that both you and I are West Ham fans, a lot of the squad are West Ham fans, we're going to get to potentially play against West Ham? I mean, women have played the ladies' team, actually beat them in a pre-season friendly. But the men have never played them. We played the staff team back in the day. And by all accounts, the West Ham squad going out there could be a bit like a staff team. They could have Marky Nobes. Mark Noble could be out there. It. He is staff nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the pro teams, because obviously if Dortmund and West Ham and Wolves turned up with their best 7-a-side team, they would easily win it.
Make it tough.
And it is their time off, isn't it? It's their first team's time off in June. So we expect those teams to be made up of a combination of legends, recently retired legends, and then maybe academy players.
Yeah.
It's still going to be very strong. But I actually think some of the other like MLS related teams are going to be very strong. We've also got a US women's national team out there. So there's a women's team, most of which, or many of which, won the World Cup. And then Jimmy Conrad, for example, very good friend of ours, former hashtag player. He's made a team with another ex-US men's national team player, DeMarcus Beasley. Yeah. And they have just been absolutely racking up the big names joining their club.
I'm questioning the size of their squad because I'm sure there's limits on the squad. It seems to be that Jimmy Conrad is announcing a new player every single day.
He really is. And they're proper players as well. Like, they've played right up there in the MLS.
I mean, will they be playing?
I mean, I would be surprised and a little bit upset if Jimmy and DeMarcus didn't play, because obviously I'm a big fan and friend of Jimmy's, but I think they could still add a lot to the competition. We know what Jimmy can do. I think they'll be getting involved. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of MLS-related teams out there. There's 32 teams in total, right? So you could argue each team's got a 1 in 32 chance of winning $1 million. Some may be more than others. But I guess our chances are very closely related to the squad that we're taking out there. So should we talk about it?
Let's do it.
Okay. There's a few people we've already announced publicly. You'll probably know about it. So we'll recap them first before we make up the rest of the names. So the first name we announced was Jack Downer, a.k.a. Street Panner. So not a first-team player for us, but a friend of the club. We've played against him at Old Trafford back in the day when we went up there with Adidas. We have had him down to training more recently. He's a world champion freestyle player. Panner, or nutmegging, is his kind of forte. But he can play the game as well, can't he?
Yeah, he can play the game, but on that smaller pitch where it's, you're looking for lots and lots of 1v1 situations, he's got to be good, isn't he?
I think he could be a really good player riding up the opposition, because there's it can be a lot of egos up there.
Yeah.
Think about these guys have won massive competitions before. Jack could just come along, put the ball through a few of their legs a few times. It could get feisty. So that's what Jack does, and we think he's going to add some real quality and some skill to the team. Really happy to have him. We also recently announced a goalkeeper. Full disclosure, we can't take James Philp, who's our first team goalkeeper, of course. He would have come out for us, but he's got work commitments. Yep. So we needed to do a little bit of, I got in the market, basically. I started looking around.
You used your contacts, didn't you?
Used my contacts. I basically went on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I found someone with about 5 million followers who's also very good in goal. His name is Alexis Andre Jr. He plays in the National League, the same league that Wrexham played in this year. He's played against Wrexham. He's a starter for Maidenhead. Yeah. So he's first choice goalkeeper for them, and he's going to be our number one out there. I mean, I'm guessing you don't know much about him.
Good looking boy, isn't he?
He's very good.
I know that.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know how he's got so many followers.
I think demographically it could be very different, his following to hashtags.
Do you think?
I think it could be. I mean, what are we, like 90% male? I think his might be a full 180 on that one. Yeah. Not a bad thing. Could bring in a new audience to hashtag. But mostly he just needs to keep the ball out of the net, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
And talking about the goals quickly, 7-a-side, not full-size goals. I think it's 16 by 7 foot goals, which is sort of a step down. Still nice. It's a nice shaped goal, isn't it?
Kind of size, I think. Yeah.
You still score bangers.
Yeah. Big enough for lots of goals, but.
And obviously, as we go through announcing this squad, you and I have been talking about it for a while. How do you think it's going to, do you think we've got players in our squad and our team now that are more suited perhaps to 7-a-side or less so?
Yeah, I think it's the different formats always take you by surprise, and there's always players that you think, he'll be great at this, and others you think it's not quite their game, and then those that don't, they really adapt well to it, and they bring up something slightly different to your typical kind of flair player, and they can be equally as effective. So we've tried to kind of get a bit of a balance really that reflects our squad this year, with some really kind of cool additions to it as well, to add a bit of pizzazz, if you like.
Speaking of pizzazz and additions, I actually am better at 7-a-side than 11-a-side. I know you're thinking can't be better than you are at 11s.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about something else.
I know, it's about me. Yeah, 5-a-side, if you're wondering, is probably my sort of best. You get my best performance out of me 5s, I'd say. But I could do a job for you at 7s if you're looking for that extra pizzazz. Just the registration guideline. We've got time if you want to throw it. I'm just going to leave it like that.
But the rules are that if you go to a draw, you could then technically end up 5v5 at one point, couldn't you?
Exactly, and that's when you get me in. Although, can you do subs in target score
time?
Well,
no, I was just thinking if they allowed us to have 8 and the other team have got 7, that might be a better opportunity to get you in.
That would be ideal if they did that, especially with $1 million on the line. Can we do that, please? Listen, if you want to win the money, I'm an option. Okay, so Alexis is our goalkeeper, first choice keeper, but we did decide we think we should take a second goalkeeper out because, and I don't know if every team's going to do this or not, but ultimately, there's no draws, for example, in this tournament. Everything's going to end with a win. So every goal is important. And for me, if we ended up not winning the $1 million because something happened to Alexis and we didn't have a backup keeper and we had to put an outfield player in goal, I'd never forgive myself. So we had to think about who we could take as goalkeeper number 2. And I'm really happy about this one, I've got to be honest, because
not everyone's going to get, and not going to have the option of a number 2 like we've got though.
We had quite a few options really.
Yeah, but this one's
special.
Pretty special, isn't it?
And also we needed someone that, because it is a number 2, that was a team player prepared to come along and, not just in goalkeeping positions, but we've got a fairly sizable squad for this tournament, and there could be a few that don't get a lot of minutes. It's about taking the right characters, and this man I knew would be perfect for this. Great for the group.
Always smiling.
Always. We were smiling when I told him he was coming.
Fun to be around,
But more importantly, we've got a lot of these little things we do at the club, and one of them is we have a Hall of Fame, and it needs to mean something beyond just getting a nice little plaque or whatever on the day, and it should mean something extra. And since this man was put in the Hall of Fame, he's come to Portugal with me for a tournament last season, and he didn't even concede a goal at that tournament, so he's got the call up. Second choice goalkeeper for a hashtag at TST is Jacko. Jacko is coming along, and I'm buzzing to have him there. I mean, we don't need to say any more about Jacko. We said it all before.
Memo to current players: get yourself in that Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly. This is another reason I wanted to do it. This is why you want a Hall of Fame status, because you get special privileges. Okay, so that's a goalkeeping position sorted. Other announcements you would have seen. Recently announced on an Untagged episode, Harry Haysom has made it in there. Obviously, he's a defender. Been amazing for us, hasn't he, last few years?
Yeah, he deserves it, doesn't he? Harry's even, this year he's had a bit of a difficult year in terms of injuries, but when he's played, he's been phenomenal. So, yeah.
I can't remember him having really a bad game for the hashtag. It's okay, everyone was a bit off up against Basildon, weren't they? But yeah, Haysom's in there. Really happy about that one. We know what he can bring to the side. Who else has been announced? We have announced PK Humble is coming for a multitude of reasons. Ability being one of them, but he comes with so much more, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's another quiet, unassuming lad who's just going to fit in the background and just let others take the limelight, I think.
100%. I mean, he's going to be great for the tournament in general. I wouldn't be surprised. We're talking about this event being televised. There's going to be a lot of eyeballs on it in the States and elsewhere. I think PK could be a star of the tournament, both for on the pitch things, but also off the pitch stuff.
You're nervous.
It does make me a bit nervous, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm a big fan of this project in general, TST. I really want it to take off. And so anything we can add to it, even if it's not in just footballing stuff, is great. And PK fits that category. Yeah. But also, I think he's going to be great. I actually think 7-a-side could be a really nice game style for him, with his strength and his footwork is actually very decent. So I'm looking forward to see what PK can do. Alongside PK, we know that Toby is coming as well. He's had a really good season. 10 goals, 19 assists, the most assists ever recorded for a men's player in a season. And we hope to see more of the same in TST.
Yeah, and I think what's been great for Tobes this year is there's all this. People forget that he was our player before he went on Love Island.
Yeah.
He was playing for us before, and they think, you sense sometimes people think that don't know, think it's a bit of a publicity stunt and he's not here on merit. And this year he's shown his worth as a footballer, hasn't he?
Well, he was playing for us the level below as well. And I thought...
And he didn't win Love Island, but he's won the Isthmian North.
Exactly. I know which one I'd rather win. He also, I'll be honest, I thought we wouldn't see him again after Love Island. Or if we did, I thought we'd see a lesser version. It's actually been the opposite. We've seen a new man. We've seen a stronger Toby, I think. So yeah, more of the same, please, Toby. Hopefully getting the bow and arrow out in North Carolina. So we're up to date with the people that have been announced. Let's start rattling through some of the other people we're taking. And to be fair, mostly we've gone for our first team for this because, one, they deserve it, having a great, incredible season as a reward. But also, I think, they make us strong. I think we're one of the few actual teams going to TST that have played as a team this season, that have won something as a season in this season. I think that the slight risk we have, and that's obviously going to be over to you and your staff with the training sessions we've got coming up, is to keep the boys motivated and not just go into holiday mode, whereas all these other people might have been prepping just for TST.
So
that's my only concern, but I'm really happy with the squad we're taking. First name, Matt Waldridge, is going to be there as a defensive option, but also you can, 7-a-side, you might see him.
Yeah, the defenders are going to have equal opportunities to attack, and we've seen the way that Matt gets forward, whether, one of the kind of jokes we have on the sidelines often is we know we're getting into the last few minutes of a game when our fullback is, when our right back's appearing on the left wing, or when he's left back and appearing on the right wing. He kind of has this knack of getting forward and getting goals. So he can be, as much as he's a defender and he's going to be important in that sense, he's also got goals.
Yeah, 100%. He got 4 goals this season. Another one in the Haysom mould, been amazing the last few years. Another person that's been incredible the last few years, has been around a little bit longer than the other two, but has almost the exact same amount of appearances as Harry Haysom now, is Tom Anderson.
Another one who got goals. He started with us as a midfielder, a goal-scoring midfielder, and so that flexibility is there again with Tom, and someone who's performances have been rewarded with this as well.
Yeah, really happy to have him out with us. I know he's absolutely buzzing to play in the event as well. Someone else we're going to be including defensively, which might surprise some people. Let me tell you, it was really tough choosing who to take for this because obviously everyone you take means someone else isn't going. And it is 7-a-side, so we're taking a fairly big squad for 7-a-side, but there's plenty of people missing out, both footballers and non-footballers. But this one was someone I was really keen to include, not just for past performances and commitment to the club, but also for what I hope would be a future commitment as well going forward. And he is back from injury. He's been playing with Whittam of late to get that game experience back in. He's been scoring as well, even though he's a centre-half. But Farai Singano is coming with us.
Yeah, it's fantastic to have Faz with us. And I know lots of people have been asking where's he been, and he's been out for such a long time with his injury. And, the circumstances this season were that it was best for him to go and get regular football with Whittam. And he's done brilliantly for them. We thank them for giving him the opportunity to play, and it was always with a view to him coming back. And really, Faz being on the trip is reward to him for his perseverance, his patience, his dedication, his hard work, and his performances beforehand. Because with the football stopping because of the pandemic, that added time to his injury. It meant his operation was delayed, and it's been a horrific couple of years for him, and to see him back playing is absolutely amazing. To see him back playing in one of our shirts is even better. Yeah,
and can we insert a clip of a goal he scored for Whittam here? Very Drogba-like. You wouldn't have believed it was Farai if I hadn't told you it was, because the only goal he scored for us was basically winning off
really
his
bad cross.
Back of his boot. Yeah.
The other thing is as well is in these small-sided environments, Faz, when in training, and what's been really amusing this year is seeing the new guys that have never played with Faz before, and when he come back from his injury, and it was almost like, yeah, that's Faz, because he was like, they just can't get past him.
Yeah.
It's just a rash.
That's what we love.
He's the kind of guy you want on your team in training. So when you're playing the 7-a-side. So glad we've got him on ours.
And what's really nice is actually, along with Jacko, to have two players, 5 years into our non-league journey, who are with us at the start of it, that have come through 3 levels of football with us.
Yeah.
Still going strong. This isn't a sentimental play. We're here to win $1 million. We're taking what we think is the most equipped team we can take, but to have those two still in the mix.
I mean, if it was about sentiment, you'd be playing, right?
Of course, and ability, you could argue.
Me, possibly.
I'm for it. If it gets me in, I'll do anything. And
I'd rather see you play than me.
It's one of them, isn't it? Like, this is going to be competitive. It's going to be feisty. I think the money is really what makes it so different to any other tournament we've been involved in, and also the fact that if you come second, even you get nothing. It's winner take all. Someone else who's won a lot and played a lot in his career, who's a defender but also versatile, Greg Halford, is going to be coming with us. What an experienced man to be able to take with us.
I mean, Greg is our kind of version, if you like, of what a lot of these other clubs are bringing. The seasoned pro that's played right at the top of the game, and just he's been a bit of a Rolls Royce for us this year, hasn't he? So what's not a lot more to be said.
No.
We know he's in the 11-a-side. He's played just about every position. So we don't even quite know how we'll best utilise him in the 7s.
We've got options, we've got to work it out. But Greg, you're on the plane. Great to see it. Another experienced player that's coming with us, who's had a fantastic debut season at the Tags, had to be with us, Max Cornhill. You got to be buzzing. I know you're a big Max fan.
Yeah, he's known Max since he was a young player, and the hunger that Max has for playing football and just
keeping fit as well.
Everything. He's 35, 36 now. It was there when he was in his early 20s. It hasn't changed. It hasn't waned one little bit to the extent where sometimes you have to drag him off the pitch to protect him. So, and the players love him, and he's great, and he's adaptable to the different formats as well. And I'm sure he'll be really keen to score a header in the 7-a-side.
It's doable. It is doable.
Yeah.
So next name is someone who I think has done incredibly well this year, who, if you were to try and make a squad probably at the start of the season, they might have been missing out purely based on game time, because a lot of the squad has been picked on game time or minutes this year. So some of the newer lads have missed out. I'm not going to go through all the people that haven't got to go, but essentially anyone that's joined us sort of later into the season it isn't coming, and it's not based on ability, it's based on time at the club.
Yeah.
But this man's been with us all season, but he wasn't playing as much at the start, but he made himself undroppable at certain points, didn't he? Lots of goals, lots of assists, ridiculous amount of energy. Eman Akunja.
Yeah, and all those things you just explained about Eman is why it'd be great, in this format for us.
Yeah.
But exactly that, he came in at a point where it coincided, him, really staking his claim, coincided with the start of that fantastic run we went on.
Yeah. 21 wins.
He's integral to that, and testament to his character and personality as well.
Yeah. Really good addition. Also, we've got the captain coming out with us, which is great. Lewis Watson, who's just started to play after quite a few injuries this year at the back end of the season. He's got a man of the match in the last game. He's going to be out there leading the club along with Max, so that's fantastic to have him out there as well.
Yeah, and Lou's had, to say, a difficult year, lots of injuries, and he probably feels like the season's ending at a really bad time for him because he's just kind of getting up to speed of where he was. But almost, it's like having a fresh player coming into this tournament. There won't be any legginess in Lou or tiredness. He'll be raring to go. So yeah, it'd be great.
Excellent stuff. Going into the attacking positions, obviously we've talked about Toby, who's an option for us out there, who's coming on the plane. Someone who has really stolen the headlines in the last few months, Jermaine Francis, will be there too.
Yeah, I think we all feel very much the same about Jermaine. He's a special talent. Stole the headlines the latter part of the season, but probably only because, again, he had a couple of injuries and where he missed the early part. Otherwise, I think it probably would have been the whole season. We'd be waxing lyrical about him. But this is, for us, this is also an opportunity for other people to see Jermaine.
Yeah.
It's a window for him. And this format will suit him down to the ground because he's just got so much energy to go with his ability as well.
Yeah, looking forward to having Jermaine out there. Another player that's been very important for us going forward this year. 10 goals, 10 assists in 40 appearances from Portugal, Pedro Carvalho. He's joining us.
This is made for Pedro, isn't it? 7-a-side.
Yeah.
Tight 1v1s, getting at people.
I like that size goal for Pedro as well.
Yeah,
I feel like
he's got
damage.
that. Yeah, I think I just feel if you had to pair this tournament with a player within our squad, I think the first name that would spring to mind would be Pedro. He's even got the name to go. He's even got like a superstar name to.
But I like this insight though, because it's not like, the first year of non-league, I was at training every week and seeing everything. I don't get to see as much of it anymore, and I don't get to see these boys play small-sided. So you're coming to this obviously with a lot more insight than that. So it's great to hear. It's probably great for the fans to hear as well, because they won't know. They'll just assume the boys that are the best at 11-a-side. But it's not that.
It's not the way.
Is it?
No.
Our top goal scorer this year, Alex Teniola, 17 goals this season. He's coming as well. I know he's absolutely buzzing for it as well. Yeah. And that's what I love about this. We do things right. It's been a while, hasn't it, since we've done something big like this? We were playing at Old Trafford and all this sort of thing. COVID kind of put paid to that for a few years. But this is the first big. We went to Jersey last year, but this is like a sort of level above in terms of the scale of the thing. And what I love about it is when we get to take some of these guys who haven't necessarily got to do things like this before in their career. This sort of opportunity to travel and to play against players and teams they never would have. So Teniola is just one of many who are super enthusiastic about it. But yeah, great to have AT. Yeah,
brilliant. Another massive character, personality, had a tremendous season, finished our top goal scorer. He deserves to be. He deserves to go, doesn't he?
100%. So that is a 16-man squad we just talked you through there. It's obviously 7-a-side, so it's a heavy squad. We're allowed to have up to 18, but reality is a lot of other teams will probably have a lot less than that. So we are potentially working on one more special last-minute addition. I haven't got it secured yet, so I'm not going to talk about it, and it might not come off. So it might be that squad that we take, but we'll let you know, obviously, in a separate video or a separate piece of content if we do get one more addition to take. But it is a strong squad. It's flexible. It's rotational. There's a lot of different guys there. I think you could put in 2 or 3 different starting sevens there that wouldn't necessarily be any weaker than the other. But where do you? I know it's a difficult question because we are going into the unknown.
Yeah.
But where do you? What are you seeing as a good performance for this tournament for us? Like what are your aims?
Well, it's all or nothing, isn't it?
I agree. I just wanted to test you and see what you said. I'm not going to put
you
pressure on
you. like putting pressure on me.
We have to win $1 million.
This is I'm meant to be relaxing.
Yeah, in your holiday.
I've had 3 days off.
No pressure, but we have to win $1 million.
Well, I think what we'll do is we'll have a lot of fun finding out.
Yeah.
We'll have some training sessions set up where we'll look at And that's with having the bigger squad. It allows us to almost play against each other in training.
True.
Get used to the rules. There's some quirky rules that
there is some great rules. No draws, and every game will end with a goal, whatever happens, and no time wasting. Hopefully as well because of that.
It's really interesting, that, isn't it? And then the man down. I mean,
so if
who come up with that idea?
Well, it was trialled. I'm glad you noticed in the Wembley Cup a few years ago.
Well, I'm hoping it's a lot easier than last time as well.
Hopefully, it's going to be hard to monitor that one, but it's not called man down anymore. It's called target score time. But once you're in target score time, after a certain amount of time, you haven't hit that score you need to win the game. Every team loses a player, and it could end up like we've seen before.
The TST always finishes on TST.
Exactly, it's clever, isn't it? These guys, they're not mugs.
No,
they're not mugs. And what happens between now and the tournament then? We've got, as we're recording this, we've got just over a month before we head out there. Obviously, the guys have just finished their season on the weekend.
They've literally just finished, so we've got to get a balance of them like kind of rest and recovery, but also preparation. So we're probably up against it a little bit in terms of time. Some of these teams, as you say, will have been just purely working towards this for months. But the advantage we have, as you say, is that they're all familiar with each other. The squad have been together. We're only bringing in, a couple of guys from the outside, and that we already know about anyway. So we know they have no problem settling at all. It's just getting the balance right, so it won't be like anything heavy. It'll really be getting to terms with the restrictions, formations, style of play, adapting to situations when we might be winning or might be losing, or what we need to chase.
And the other thing we've obviously got to contend with, which some teams do, but I think probably most of them don't, is obviously that we've got to fly over there. So we're going to get over there a day early. We're going to have a day to acclimatise. But it's not a lot of time, is it? We have one day and then we're straight into
it.
And it could be over after a day and a half.
It could be. We don't know how that works. That could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing in terms of not having time. It might be that not having time to think about it and just being straight into it is the best thing. We're not out there for long enough for it to be really prepped out and planned to do away with, things like jet lag and things like that. But
we know how we perform with coach lag into Suffolk, and but that's the other direction. We're not good when we go towards necessarily Suffolk or Norfolk, but we're going to the west.
And we're going on a plane, not a coach.
So. But jet lag is actually a thing. Coach lag is something I made up.
Yeah.
So jet lag could be real, but let's hope not. That's why we've got a big squad at least. We can rotate. Get all the boys on. There's lots more to come regarding TST, guys. We have the draw happening next week, so we don't know what groups we're in yet. That's going to have a massive say on it. It's very World Cup style in the sense of you're in a group of 4. The top 2 teams get out the group, the bottom 2 don't. The group stage games all happen on the first day, and then the third game is on the top of the second day. So that's the earliest we could be out, which is sort of halfway through day 2. If we get through to day 4, it means we've got to the final. And it's just a final, winner takes all, $1 million to one team. What I love about this tournament is, if you watch it, and we're going to get our content and our highlights up on the channel, but it is going to be available to watch somewhere else as well. If you watch it, that one team is getting $1 million at the end. It's just mad. Crazy, someone's lives are going to change, or the clubs are going to change. I think we're one of the only actually established clubs, apart from the pro teams, obviously, that play in the league every week. And I think of all the, in comparison to the pro teams like the Wrexhams and the West Ham's and the Dortmunds or whatever, $1 million is going to make a way bigger difference to us than it is to them in reality. Shout out to some of them, by the way, though, because I know some teams, like, for example, Charlotte, who are playing in it, who are from North Carolina, and they're in the MLS. If they win, they've already said that $1 million is going to go towards a charity, which is the family of one of their players who died.
Fantastic.
So there's some amazing things.
Wrexham have said something similar as well, haven't they?
Yeah, I think community stuff. It's amazing to see, and I think that, because this has come off the back of a tournament called TBT, which is the basketball tournament made by the same guys. They've had some fantastic results like that. The most recent team to win TBT was a team called Autism Awareness. So that money all went towards their charitable work. So whoever wins is going to be great, but obviously better for us if we win, and it will have a real impact on hashtag, and you'd see that come through in the content next year. So I hope you all get behind us. So more content coming. We've got to react to the draw when we see who's in our group. We're also going to try and spend some time with some of the other teams ahead of TST to find out what their plans are, what they're thinking about it all. And then, of course, we have got the tournament itself. So let us know in the comments below how you think hashtag are going to do. You've heard the squad. Who would be your starting 7? Devs is looking for ideas here.
Ooh, yeah.
Let him know in the comments below.
Oh, starting 7, and what formation would you play?
Yes, you've got options, you see. You've got options. I've got an idea, but we'll talk about that off camera. We've also got a little video coming up with West Ham as well, we filmed recently, who we're going to be potentially playing against at TST, so look out for that. But as always, drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe for more, become a member to support the club. We need it now more than ever. We're going up to higher levels, men and women competing at the highest level we've ever been, and TST hopefully taking out $1 million. We'll see you in the next one. Up the tags.